Hello class 7th. I hope you are going good. Students, today we are going to start chapter 4th in this video, that is administration and society during the Delhi Sultanate. Students, we have read about the Delhi Sultanate in the last chapter. Now we will read that how they used to administer their empire and about the society. Okay, so let us start from the administration during the Delhi Sultanate. First of all, we will read about the administration during the Iltutmish reign. Students, Iltutmish developed a new land revenue system in which the Sultanate was divided into two smaller parts that were known as iqtas, and these iqtas were given to the nobles who were known as iqtadars. The iqtadars were responsible for maintaining law and order in their iqtas, and also they used to collect revenue from the land. They also led the military campaigns. They used to fight with the enemies on the behalf of Sultan, and they provided Sultan with soldiers in the times of war and revolts. So it shows that iqtadars were a very important part of administration as well as the military organization of the Sultan. The revenue that was collected by the iqtadars, it was used to maintain the army, and it also earned a salary to the iqtadars also. The iqtadars were not the owners of the land, and they could be transferred from one iqta to the another. Students, the Sultan used to appoint accountants to audit the revenues that were collected by the iqtadars. The iqtadars were punished if they were caught doing some misdeed in the revenue, and the land from them was taken away. Okay. The villages under the Delhi Sultanate were headed by the village headmen who were known as Muqaddams, and they were also the landowners of big land. The landlords with small land holdings were known as khuts. The landlords paid taxes to the iqtadars. Sometimes the khuts misused their position and they forced the peasants to pay more and more revenue on their behalf also. There were also Hindu landlords who were known as roys. Okay. Now about the taxation system. Students, as you know that the land revenue was the most important source of income for the Sultan, and the Sultanate was divided into 4 types. Okay. That included the land given to iqtas, the land given to Hindu landlords, the land under the direct control of Sultan that was known as Khalisa, and the land given to the Muslim scholars, means waqf. The taxes were collected from the owners of all the lands except from the waqfs. Students, there were 2 categories of taxes that were imposed during that period, that were the religious taxes and the secular taxes. Okay. Proper coinage system were used to be there during Iltutmish rule. Okay. And the first coin minted by a Muslim ruler in his name and in the name of God. He introduced 2 coins, the silver tankas and the copper jitals, that became the model for coinage by the successive Delhi sultans, means the sultans that came to power after him. And the successive sultans of Delhi Sultanate, they adopted and continued the system of land revenue and coinage, but some of them modified this system also from time to time. Now, administration during Balban's reign. Students, Balban was the most or one of the most powerful sultan of the slave dynasty, and he did not like the powers that were exercised by the nobles. He knew that he will not remain the sole authority if he did not dismiss the power of the Chehalgani or the nobles. So he promoted junior Turk officials to the higher positions of power and equaled them with the powers of the 14 nobles. And to further humiliate the nobles, he introduced some practices and rules in his court. Okay. He gave up all the wine drinking and insisted to his courtiers that they will also follow the same rules. He wore the turban in court. Then he introduced Sijda in front of the Sultan and the kissing of the feet of Sultan. These were all introduced to humiliate, to embarrass the nobles. Okay, it showed that the position of Sultan was the powerful authority and his orders must be obeyed. But all these systems, they were not liked by the nobles. They were already against him. And to strengthen his administration, Balban built new fortresses and towns to promote the regional trade. He also built forts that served as a defense against the attacks of the Mongols. Now the administration during the Alaudin Khilji. Okay. First of all, let us read about the military reforms. Students, during the rule of Alaudin Khilji, the Delhi Sultanate had grown very well and it covered the entire India except the states of the extreme south. So, in order to maintain and govern a large empire, Alaudin Khilji, he introduced many military and land reforms during his rule. To safeguard his frontiers, he raised huge army and he used to pay salaries in cash to the soldiers. He constructed and repaired the old forts, and one such type of fort that is very famous is known as Siri Fort. Okay, it is situated in Delhi. Okay, now the land revenue reforms. So many policies were adopted to reform the land revenue system. It included that the total land was measured and then the share of the state was fixed. Officials were appointed to collect the land revenue for the state, and there were three kinds of taxes that were imposed on cultivation. They were known as kharaj, on cattle grazing pastures or charahi, and taxes on the houses or ghari. These all were the three types of taxes, and the tax on the cultivation was raised to 1/2 of the total produce, and the peasants had to pay this tax to the Sultan directly. All other lands were confiscated and made taxable under the central regime of the Sultanate, and a strong spy system was introduced and the spies were appointed everywhere. Spies means jasoos. They used to give secret information to the Sultan. Now about the economic reforms. He introduced various economic reforms so that he can collect more revenue and maintain his army. So these reforms included that the price of some products like the food grains, cloth, cattle and general things, they were fixed, and the hoarding of any goods was punishable. Hoarding means जो black में store करके रखते हैं सामान. It was an offense. The food grains were stored in the government granaries and that was used in the times of crisis. The prices that were fixed one time, they couldn't be changed even during the crisis such as famine or war. Strict rationing was practiced during famines, means all people got food at that time. And a market superintendent who used to control the market, his name was Shahana Mandi, was appointed, who kept a check on the market prices, and he also ensured that the grains are regularly flowed in the market and the granaries. Then, administration during Muhammad bin Tughlaq's reign. Students, he also introduced some changes and experiments. The first experiment he did was with the currency. Okay. He introduced a new gold coin that was known as dinar, and he also revived the silver coin. This all was done from the wealth he collected from his attacks to the Deccan, especially of the Devgiri place. He stopped the copper beans that were used as a token money and would be considered equivalent in the value to the silver and gold coins. So all the transactions can be done through the copper coins. The copper coins had the equal value to the silver and gold coins, but that the result of this currency experiment was different or negative. Okay. Due to this announcement, many people started making fake copper coins. Okay. These fake coins cannot be differentiated from the original copper coins that were minted by the Sultan. So people used these copper coins and they hoarded the gold and silver coins in thousands. Okay, they kept a big store of the silver and gold coins, and due to this they became very rich, and the government treasury means खजाना, जो सरकार का खजाना था, that was filled with the copper coins, and those copper coins were mostly fake, and due to this all the currency fell, means the value of currency declined. At last the Sultan had to repeal the order to save the government treasury. So he revoked the decision of the currency experiment. Another negative decision that was taken by Muhammad bin Tughlaq was the shifting of capital. Students, he shifted his capital from Delhi to Devgiri in south, and then he renamed Devgiri as Daulatabad. It was situated in the south and was at the equal distance from Delhi, Telangana and some other important places of the Sultanate. So Tughlaq ordered the residents of Delhi that moved to Daulatabad. Okay. But the residents of Delhi were not ready to move from the city, but Sultan forced them to leave the city and move to the newly established capital. Okay, he supported the migrants and helped them to rehabilitate. But after a short period of time, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he realized that the shifting of his capital was not a good decision. Why? Because Daulatabad was situated far away from the North Indian kingdoms, and there was a possibility that the Hindu Rajputs could revolt at any time. And secondly, the shifting of the capital also exposed Delhi and other states of the Sultanate to the attacks of the Mongols. Students, Mongols were frequently trying to attack the frontiers of India. So he ordered the residents of Daulatabad to move back to Delhi. Okay. So by the times the residents reached Delhi, half of the population died and Delhi lost his wealth and grandeur. So again the shifting of capital experiment, that was also a negative one, and the Sultan Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he faced losses. Now about the taxation in Doab region. Students, Doab region was situated between the river Ganga and Yamuna. So he increased the land revenue from 10 to 30% there, and several new taxes were also imposed. At the same time, the rain failed and a famine occurred. But during the famine years, taxes were not relaxed and they were collected in the same manner. So as a result of the hard taxation system, the rich peasants rebelled and the poor peasants were ruined. So this decision was also very negative for the Sultan. Now the chief officials of the Sultanate. Students,